What's up, guys, and welcome back, and we're talking about Emerald. So just like the other two videos, we're going through the top 10 cards that you should have in your collection from set 1 through 3. I'm not looking at set 4 just yet, but we will be having videos coming up pretty soon where we're analyzing all the cards, breaking down the top ones from different colors. But this video is about set 1 through 3, building your collection, making sure that you have all the cards you need as the new sets are rolling out. And yeah, we're going to go through those top 10 cards plus 2 honorable mentions. So you're lucky. You're getting 12 cards. So make sure, let me know down in the comments, did I miss a card? Is there a card you think is better than anything on this list that I should have named? And yeah, let's jump into it. All right, so as we start off the honorable mentions, I'm going to start with Donald Duck. So Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman. He's a pretty good card, 4-drop. He is inkable. He's a 2/5, so pretty hard to take down, and he taps for 2 lore. Now he also has a shift, but most of the time you're not going to be shifting Donald anywhere, and his ability is at the start of your turn each player may draw a card. Now this is kind of like some may say a poor man's sad beast, but they are giving them a card. And if you guys don't know, especially with this new set 4 stuff, discard is going to be huge, and being able to just discard the card they're drawing, it's going to be pretty easy. So that's why he made it into the honorable mentions. A lot of people were starting to use them at the end of set 3, so I imagine he's going to continue into set 4, but there was a lot of good cards spoiled, and that's why he made the honorable mention rather than the actual top 10. So from Donald Duck, we have an action, well, really a song, and it's Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Now, this is one of those cards where it's been here, it's come and gone throughout all of the meta of 1 through 3, and I still think it's a really nifty and neat card. Now, I'm putting it on the honorable mention specifically for set 4 because you can bounce a card and play a card for the same cost. You can play the same card. That's one of the things people may not know about this card. So if you think of things like Bucky, who's looking for Floodborns, you can bounce a Floodborn and put it right back in to trigger your Bucky again. And yeah, with the Hades and things like that being, showcased and shown off in this set for set 4, I think Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo is a card that can make a resurgence and really wind up in some of these decks, and is a card to watch out for. All right, so in the number 10 slot, we have Mother Knows Best. This is one of those cards that's pretty good as far as tempo goes. It is a 3-drop uninkable. The uninkable hurts a little bit, which is why it's lower on this list, but you can bounce a character back to that player's hand. And this is one of those things where tempo is really good in the green decks. And when you have something like the 3-drop Ursula, you can bounce 2 characters back to their hand. And with the discard package, you can essentially use it as removal. So this is why this card is showing up a lot and why it made the number 10 slot. All right, so going into the number 9 slot, this is one of those cards that I honestly haven't seen much play in from set 1 through 3, which is maybe surprising why it's on the list, but I guarantee it's going to see some play in set 4. And right now they're probably pretty cheap, and I would look at picking them up before they start to rise as we see more use out of this card. And the card is Flynn Rider. No, not the 2-drop Flynn Rider, the 4-drop uninkable Flynn Rider, his own biggest fan. He is a 2/3, and he taps for 4 lore. Now, he technically only taps for 4 lore if your opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, but that's pretty easy to do in the discard package that a lot of people are going to be running in set 4. He's evasive, which is pretty huge. Evasive is going to make a huge, I wouldn't say comeback, but be a mainstay in set 4. So make sure you have ways of dealing with evasive, because you're going to see a lot of evasive, especially out of Emerald. He also has shift 2, so you can shift them down on the 2-drop Flynn, which is going to be pretty big, and he's a Floodborn. So he's going to trigger Bucky, and you're going to hear Bucky a lot, and I'm sure we're going to see him in this list in a few, but he's just one of those cards that's really good because of all the stats he has. So I foresee this card being more played in set 4, so yeah, I would take a look at him. All right, so in the number 8 slot, we have Prince John. Prince John, Greediest of All, is a 3-drop non-inkable 1/2. He taps for 2 lore, so he's already pretty good. He has ward, so he can't be targeted, And his biggest thing is every time your opponent discards a card, you draw a card. So with Emerald, this whole discard package is going to be pretty big in the colors. And there's a lot of different ways to make people discard cards. So getting that advantage of drawing cards is going to be huge. And we saw it being played a lot in set 3. And with everything that's come out, he's going to be around in set 4. Now, currently he's a lot of 4-ofs in decks. He may get cut down to 3-ofs or something like that, but he's still a great card. And I really think you should have him in your collection if you already don't. All right, so at number 7, we have Kit Cloudkicker. So Kit is, a 2/2, 3-drop inkable, pretty good, taps for 1 lore, but when he comes down, you can return an opponent's character with 2 power or less, or 2 attack or less. This is one of those things where he gets to bounce a lot of cards, and it's a tempo game. So coming down on turn 3, you're able to bounce cards that they've played on turn 1 or 2 pretty often. Later in game, you can also do this. So it's one of those cards that's really great. And again, I know I keep saying it because that's what Emerald's about. The discard package, being able to bounce that into their hand and then make them discarding something afterwards can actually hit that card. And it's pretty good as removal. So Kit's really great. He's going to be around for a while. So definitely make sure you got him if you don't already have him in the collection. All right, so number 6. Number 6 is the card we've been talking about. It is Bucky. Now, Bucky could be higher up on the list, but there's so many great Emerald cards right now, but this is kind of where I put him on the list. But Bucky is great. Bucky is a 2-drop inkable 1/1 with ward, so again, can't be targeted. But his benefit is every time you play a Floodborn, your opponent discards a card. There's so many Floodborns, especially when you're playing something like Green Steel, which I predict is going to be one of the top decks in this next set. And yes, if you're watching this, the set's probably already out on Pixelborn, you've been playing with it, you know it's going to be crazy. But yeah, he's going to be a staple. He's going to be a card you want to pick up. And he's got a promo. So if you like to bling out your deck and all of that, he does have a promo you can grab as well. So I would definitely look into making sure you have your 4 Buckies. All right, so number 5. Number 5 is Sudden Chill. Sudden Chill is a 2-drop inkable. And when you play it, it is a song, so it can be sang, which is great. Each opponent chooses and discards a card. So, looking at it, it's so-so, but when you pair this with Prince John, every time they discard a card, you draw a card. You pair this with a 3-drop Ursula, being able to sing it twice, it's pretty big. This is also one of those cards where if their, hand is empty or anything like that, later in the game, you just ink it. You get rid of it, you move on, but it's a great card and a great, spell to be able to use when you're singing it for essentially free and getting rid of their hand. Most people hold on to a couple of those cards, and maybe you can get lucky hitting one of those big cards like Be Prepared or something like that early on, clearing your way with all your other characters. So number 4 is the other Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider, Charming Rogue. He's the 2-drop inkable 1/2. He taps for 2 lore, and if a character is challenged, the challenging player must discard a card. He is one of those cards that's been a staple really from the beginning. When the green deck actually was viable in set 1, he was one of the mainstays that was coming down with Cheshire Cat and Cusco back when it was really, really good, just because you had that 2 lore on a turn 2 character. Now we see that a lot now, but he's still great for tempo. We talked about the other Flynn Rider earlier on the list that can shift onto him. And yeah, you can just quest for lore, and if they want to take it down, they're going to have to discard a card. So it's a pretty good trade on your side. All right, so we made it to the top 3, and number 3 is Cursed Merfolk. Cursed Merfolk is a 1-drop. It's non-inkable, which is the downside there, but it's 0/1, and it tasks for 2 lore. It's just a great card to put down, get some extra lore up front, and the text on it makes it even better. So if your opponent were to challenge it, they have to discard a card. So just like we saw with Flynn Rider, you're getting some advantage there. You're throwing it down. You're getting 2 lore. You're making them discard a card. It's great. It's great. So this is one of those cards that you just want in your deck, pretty much no matter what your deck is playing Emerald, just because that 2 lore. If they can't answer it early, it's going to get 2, 4, 6 lore, something like that before, it eats it. And when that happens, they're having to use a spell, or if they're crashing something into it, you're also getting a card out of their hand. So great card overall, which is why it's in the number 3 slot. All right, so number 2. This is a hard one because I really love my number 1 and my number 2. But my number 2, which may be surprising, is the 3-drop Ursula. Ursula Deceiver of All is a great card. It's a 3-drop, it's inkable. It is a 2/3 taps for 1 lore. But the big part about this card is when you sing a song with it, you get to sing it again. I was tempted to put this as number 1 because I do see the sing together songs in set 4 may actually be pretty good with this Ursula. So being able to sing a bigger song twice because she's part of the singing package could be huge. But as of right now, the sing together songs, I'm not sold on them. A lot of them look pretty decent, pretty good. But honestly, the current songs that we have already look great with her. So this is one of those cards where I think she's great. I think if you're playing Emerald, you probably should play her in just about every deck. But the reason why I picked, yeah, we got it. Number 1, Ursula Deceiver. So not Deceiver of All, just Deceiver, which is the 2-drop inkable 1/3, 1 lore. And when she comes in, you get to look at your opponent's hand and remove a song. So the reason why that one ended up in number 1 is only because that card really is going in every single Emerald deck. I think that the 3-drop goes in most every deck, but I think that this 2-drop is in every deck. You get to remove something that you don't want, whether it's Along Came Zeus, some type of removal spell, be prepared, whatever it is with the songs, maybe a whole new world because you don't want to, lose your hand. This is the reason why I put that card at number 1. And honestly, Emerald's strong. I love Emerald overall. The whole set of Emerald has so many great cards, and set 4 is going to make Emerald probably one of the top colors. I'm so glad about this because honestly, set 1 Emerald was pretty good until everybody figured out the control package. And then set 2, it kind of jumped off a cliff. Nobody was using it in set 2. Set 3, it kind of made a little bit of a rise with a few of the decks it was being paired with, but I really think in set 4, Emerald is going to be the deck of choice. It's going to be one of the top decks alongside things like blue and red. Maybe red purple stays around. I'm sure it does. But really green steel, green amethyst, like those are going to be some of the top decks there. So if you haven't got these cards, I definitely would recommend picking them up for your collection. That way, when you're building decks, you have these strong staples. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around and hanging out with us. And make sure, if you haven't already done it, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. Let's get the videos going. We're working on getting to 1,000 subscribers. We appreciate everybody who's subscribed already. So make sure you share the video, let people know. And like I said, if I didn't name your card, let me know down below in the comments. I'm super excited about it. And make sure to check out the other videos with the other colors as we release them. So overall, super excited about all the cards that were in set 1 through 3. Looking forward to what's coming out in set 4. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, I'll take it easy.